Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the National Hockey Now Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a betting perspective. With pro sports handicappers, Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and various guests from the world of hockey and sports betting. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by National Hockey Now. It is Wednesday, November 23rd, otherwise known as Thanksgiving Eve for those in the United States. Another show ready to break down a huge, massive Wednesday card, a Wednesday card that every year, Thanksgiving week, is the big card of the week, if you will, instead of Tuesday, the day before Thanksgiving. And we have a huge slate on tap tonight. It is a massive 15-game card, and we'll be breaking it all down. Ian Cameron, Alex B. Smith, and a special surprise, Jimmy Murphy, who's normally with us on Fridays. This Friday, the Bruins play in the afternoon, so he won't be able to be on the show Friday. So he's going to join us later today on the show for his weekly guest spot and help us break down the Wednesday card as well. It's a very good night for me on the two-game slate last night. Excellent results. Buffalo best bet cruises home to an easy win there. The game goes over the total. And I added a late over the 5.5. It dropped to 5.5 in a couple spots right before puck drop on the Rangers and the Kings. And I felt, 5.5, it was just a little too low. And I thought the Rangers, after the low-scoring San Jose game, maybe looking to get their offense going. They did that, and the game went over the total. So it was a great night last night. Hopefully that's a sign of good things to come. Alex, how fired up are you for this big slate?
Yeah, it's huge. And, historically, we've seen on this Thanksgiving Eve a lot of high scoring games. You got teams that are kind of, looking forward to having that day off or a couple of days off. And, obviously, usually you got most of the teams that are coming right back on Friday. But for some reason or another, we've seen some odd high scoring games and some upsets over the years. So be careful, tread lightly with some of these big favorites that are on the board today.
Yeah, definitely. Always a weird day, because you got the holiday coming tomorrow. You always have sometimes some weird results, but you're right. I've noticed that before and after a little break or a holiday, Christmas break, Thanksgiving, before and after, we've seen sloppy play, a lot of, defensive miscues, and obviously shakier goaltending and more goals. So maybe we'll see that here tonight as well with this big slate. I do have, for those of you curious, the Canada match on in the background. If they're playing their first World Cup match of my lifetime, actually, against Belgium. But I always am telling myself in my head throughout this show, maintain focus, do the show. Don't mail it in. Do your job the way you normally do it as host of the Ice Guys. So we will try to avoid distractions with the obviously big World Cup match involving Canada going on at the same time. All right, let's go to the card. We've got to get it right into it. It's a huge slate. We will start with the Arizona Coyotes and the Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina minus 380, home favorites here, 6 the total in this game. You've got the Arizona Coyotes, a hard-fought effort in their last game against the Nashville Predators. In fact, they were leading at one point 3-2, could not hold the lead. They lose 4-3 in a shootout, 4th straight loss. And this road trip that seems like it's never going to end continues. This is now the 8th game on this road trip for the Arizona Coyotes. So they have been definitely road weary, I guess, for a very long period of time. Meanwhile, you have Carolina entering this game, Alex, on a 3-game losing streak. Now, 3 games they easily could have won. They lost 3-2 in overtime to Colorado, a 2-1 loss in overtime to Minnesota, and a 4-3 loss in overtime to Winnipeg, where they were actually down 3-0, had 3 goals in the last few minutes, handful of minutes of the third period against David Riddick and the Jets. But the Jets were able to survive and bounce back and win in overtime. Got them coming back off this little road trip. One thing you've seen, too, from this Arizona Coyotes team is, let's be honest, they've been fairly reasonably competitive, even in the losses on this road trip. So what I did is here, because I just think this is a little bit of an overpriced situation, and Vermelka is going to be in net, by the way, for the Coyotes here in this game tonight. He's certainly played better this season than he's maybe shown in years past. This, to me, is just a bet where Carolina is a little overpriced in my mind, and they're not playing the caliber of hockey that merits, I think, minus 380 at this point in time, even against a team like Arizona, even against a team that's been on the road forever. So I'm going to do a little bit of a split here with this game. Small bets, both of them, but I think it's just a little bit of a price play for me because I just don't think Carolina's warranting a minus 380 tag right now. So I'm going to go with Arizona plus 1.5, plus 125 puck line, half on that and half on the money line at the plus 320 here. I'm half and half. Just for a little extra security, the puck line plus 1.5, which is actually a plus prices at plus 125, and also the money line here. I'm a little bit concerned. I mean, the offense hasn't been consistent. A lot of it's been Aho lately, and they're not getting a whole lot of secondary, third options going offensively at the moment for the Hurricanes. That's a little bit concerning, and it doesn't help either that obviously they've missed two key pieces, including Tara Vinen, who's been on IR for a long period of time. You've got some issues right now finding the back of the net consistently in recent games. So we'll see if that continues here tonight. But I certainly think Carolina's a little overpriced here and a little bit too much of a favorite, if you will, in this game. What do you think here, Alex? Arizona, Carolina.
Yeah, it's a really steep price, even though they've had great history against Arizona, and this is a Coyotes team that you kind of wonder they're going to throw a clunker out here at some point. Being on the road this long, this could be that spot. So it's a tough one for me. I was even trying to look at maybe the double chance of Coyotes and a draw, because we've seen 3 straight OT games with Carolina,
Yep.
but you're not getting much value with that. It's all the way down to plus 160 at one shop. So this is one I'm probably going to pass, but it makes sense to try to look for some spots with Coyotes, like I said, 1.5, or even take a shot with them as a dog, as opposed to looking at Carolina. There's just nothing of good value. Even a team total over 3.5, you're laying somewhere around 155 to 160. So this one won't make my card on a big slate like this. But like I said, tread lightly looking at Carolina, because they have not been in the best of form. And this could be one of those spots where they kind of lay an egg against a bad team.
Yeah, again, and it's basically double-edged sword, two sides of the coin. You could say Carolina's lost 3 in a row. They're back home. They're angry. They drill a team they're better than. And the other side of it is, hey, they're struggling right now. Arizona's putting up a feisty effort, it seems, every night that they're potentially live in this game. So it depends on which way you look at it. I look at it as the second way, and I look at it as, again, Carolina's not playing in the form that merits minus 380, in my opinion, at the moment. We'll see how it goes tonight. St. Louis and Buffalo. We got the Blues minus 150 road favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. Keep in mind, the money's come in on Buffalo here, and I think it's kind of that little angle that we've talked about. Team that's been struggling and on a bad losing streak. They snapped the streak, and I think people want to get on that, back that team a little bit, see if they can go on a bit of a run. Maybe we're going to see that out of the Buffalo Sabres, but it's not going to be easy. They are on a back-to-back after snapping the losing streak last night with a decisive win against Montreal. You could tell they were ready to play from the opening faceoff. They just pounced on the Canadiens early in that game and did an outstanding job, really, when you look at it in terms of being able to get the early lead, get the jump on Montreal, get that 3-0 lead, and then show they could play a little bit of defense. I did say Matthias Samuelsson's return yesterday on the show would help that team a little bit at the defensive end of the ice. And certainly the penalty kill was at least a little bit better than it's been in recent games without him. So that was definitely good to see. And the Sabres get obviously a much needed win. Now, sometimes when you get that first win and you play a little bit relaxed, you play a little bit more confident. It was another brilliant goal, by the way, too, by Tage Thompson. The release that he had on that 6th goal to beat Jake Allen. I mean, what an absolute roof job it was. A perfect shot. I mean, the fact that a guy that size can move that way and shoot that way, just incredible stuff. What a season he continues to have. I shudder to think, Alex, what the hell the Sabres will do if he ever gets injured. Tage Thompson. He's been that good for them. And then we had Jake Allen in the 7th goal. That was a rough night for him. It was a rough night for Montreal defensively, basically committing aggravated assault on his goal stick, smacking it against the pipe. I'm seeing that too much lately, and I said this on Twitter. It's like the goalies are, freaking out more than they normally do. It's like, calm down, man. It's one game in the regular season. I mean, it's going to be okay. I know it's not a good night, but I'm finding a lot of goalies are doing that lately in terms of just snapping, when their team is getting their ass kicked and when they in turn are getting their ass kicked. And it happened last night with Jake Allen. I'm pumping the brakes. I'm going to take my Buffalo money and run, if you will, Steve Miller Band style in this game. Like I cashed with Buffalo, but I said Montreal's the team that they're capable of beating. It's not like Montreal's world beaters. I don't want to step in front of St. Louis either. They're playing very good hockey. They're finding ways to win. They've got their offense going again. They've got the rest advantage as well going into this game tonight against the Sabres. This will be more of a prop game, more than likely for me when it's all said and done. When you look at some props that are, and the over's appealing as well a little bit at 6.5 in this game. Buffalo's definitely been trending that way over the total. Either they've been scoring goals or they've been giving up goals, but most of their games lately have been going over the total. It's more of a prop game that I'll look at here. Buffalo did rejig their lines a little bit. Again, J.J. Paterka scored last night. I don't hate the idea of maybe looking at him from a goal scorer prop tonight. St. Louis, meanwhile, you look at Jordan Kyrou being elevated to the top line is a good bet on situation. So those are a couple props that stand out to me for this matchup. Alex, what do you like in here, St. Louis and Buffalo?
Yeah, I would take a shot here with the first period over. I'm seeing two at plus $1.20. And that's usually a spot that I'll buy on, especially like I said, this just feels like it could be one of those games that has good back and forth pace. You don't want to step in front of St. Louis. They've been on a nice little run right now, but Buffalo, like I said, uh, getting that win against Montreal, that just seemed to kind of just be a bit of an aberration. We saw how bad they were playing before that. I think this might be a spot where things kind of revert back to what we've been seeing in recent form. So maybe look at St. Louis in regulation, but I feel a little bit more comfortable playing that first period over.
All right, Alex, liking the first period over here with Blues and Sabres. All right, Winnipeg Jets, Minnesota Wild. We've got Minnesota minus 155, minus 160. Home favorites, 6 the total, shaded to the under in this game. Alex, do you have any idea why this is 6 p.m. local time? Any idea what at all?
Just I guess because just being Thanksgiving Eve, they just want to
Oh,
get this kind of an earlier start. We see earlier starts with the Wild for usually when they play this game, and then we have a 1 o'clock start, which is actually way earlier than normal for Black Friday. So I think it's just the kind of traffic and different things like that. Why not play it an hour earlier?
yeah, no question. I think that's definitely there's some truth to that. No doubt about it. That maybe they just want to get an early jump on things. With this being close to Thanksgiving, we got the Wild minus 160 home favorites again, 6 the total. And good job by Alex, who actually gave out a best bet on yesterday's show in this game. Jets Wild over 5.5. And they said this 5.5s aren't going to be there probably on game day. They aren't.
Yeah.
It's 6, pretty much plastered across the board here at every sports book. So, get in front of that total moving up. Great job there doing that. The Winnipeg Jets, man, I wasn't buying into Rick Bowness being the answer and this team necessarily turning things around. I knew it was a mess, and look, they needed a change. And obviously, they bring in Rick Bowness, and that's the head coach they bring in to try to get that change out of this team. And so far, everything's worked out well. I mean, they're playing a better defensive brand of hockey, which was an issue last year for the Jets. The team camaraderie seems to be better. I'm hearing that the chemistry and the internal issues with the dressing room have been sorted out. It's a lot more harmony now in the Winnipeg dressing room. So there's definitely a lot to like here for the Jets right now at this point in time. What's not to like, and the one thing I'm kind of worried about, is they've not had a great success rate lately here at XL Energy Center. It's been kind of a tough spot for them. But man, I see plus 140 sticking out there with this team right now. And I think it's just a situation where it feels a little like Minnesota, kind of like with Carolina. Are they playing well enough to warrant minus 160 against a Jets team that's 7-3 in their last 10 games? I mean, they're lucky as shit to beat Carolina the other night. That was stealing a victory. I wouldn't call that a great performance from the Minnesota Wild. They lose to Pittsburgh. They lose to Nashville. They lose to San Jose. They squeak past Seattle. Not impressive, really, against Anaheim. I mean, Anaheim was scuffling. They lose to LA 1-0. They get shut out at home. The home record this year for Minnesota is still only 3-6 when it's all said and done. Philip Gustafson, I don't trust still. And even though he's in net, he played all right against Carolina. I got to see more before I'm ready to anoint him as some goalie I'm ready to trust night in and night out. So I like the Winnipeg side here, plus 140. I'm going to take a shot. I think Minnesota, to me, I got to see better form out of this hockey team right now than this price against the way Winnipeg's playing right now. What do you think here, Alex? Jets, obviously you like the over. We know that. That was your best bet yesterday. I guess you're going to just stand pat with that.
Yeah, I am, because this has been a truly a home series. 20 of the last 27 games, we've seen the home team win. And like you said, Winnipeg's clearly the better team right now, form wise, in my opinion. Getting plus 140, that's a spot I would normally look to strike on. And I wouldn't talk anybody out of that necessarily. Like I said, just kind of a bit hesitant because, like I said, they haven't played well here in St. Paul. I've lost 6 of the last 7 meetings. This has been a very one-sided series as far as home teams go. But I like grabbing that 5.5. Like I said, I thought that was a really low number to hang at any point, even for an overnight line. Got that, and so now it's at 6. So if you do like the over, I think you will have time to watch that drop back live in game and still be able to grab a 5.5. That's the only thing I recommend.
All right, so there we go. 5.5 yesterday, up to 6 right now. And again, Hellebuck and Gustafson. I mean, it's pretty clear who we think is the better goaltender there.
Yeah.
So, and he will be starting tonight for the Winnipeg Jets. 2.07 goals against, 935 save percentage. I think it's a really good price on Winnipeg. Really good, plus 140. I know we're going against some nightmarish games they've had in Minnesota, but Minnesota's not been as good in form now and this season, in my opinion, compared to some of those past years. So definitely, I think Winnipeg is live in this game. And as far as the props go with the Jets, you've got obviously Cole Perfetti on the second line. Sam Gagner's been moved up to the top line. There's some options there. Sam Steele and Terry's on it on the chat. That's 100% right. I mean, he's going to be top line center with Kaprizov and Zuccarello tonight. For the Minnesota Wild. So there is your bargain bin right there. Someone that's not going to be priced like it. Now moving up to the top line, Sam Steele here for the Minnesota Wild tonight, playing on that top line center spot. So there's a good option to look for here in terms of a player prop tonight on the Minnesota side of things. All right, Boston, Florida. We've got even money, minus 110. Bruins, Panthers, 6.5 the total. I mean, do we just come back and ride this Boston team? It's hard not to. The way they're playing right now. It's been a very strong run of hockey, 17-2, 6-2 on the road. Both of the losses have come on the road, but, playing a good Tampa Bay team the other night, they had a really rough start. And actually, I will say, if Allmark doesn't play as well as he does in the first period, it's 4-1 Tampa, because 4-1 Tampa was really good in the first period. But then he made the saves when it was 1-0 Tampa. Boston ties it, and I really think it took a lot of the air out of Tampa Bay. They weren't the same after that. Boston finally got their game going, and I thought in the last two periods they played a lot better in that game against the Lightning and got the 5-3 win, the big 1,000th point night as well for Patrice Bergeron, and it's just a phenomenal career that he has had for the Boston Bruins. What's amazing is I believe they are leading the league in goals for and against per game, 4.16 goals per game, 2.11 goals allowed per game. Number one in the NHL in both categories. So real impressive here from the Boston Bruins. Florida's coming off 3 straight losses. I don't like their form right now. 1-4 in their last 5 games. They lose to Dallas 6-4. 5-4 in a shootout loss to Calgary. Worth noting, Spencer Knight started that game. He had been playing great lately. That was not one of his better games. And he's back in net tonight. Bobrovsky got the Columbus game, and it ended up being a 5-3 loss for the Florida Panthers in that game. They fired 50 shots at Tarasov, who actually was very good in that game in goal for the Blue Jackets. But not a great game again from Bobrovsky, so not a surprise to see that Spencer Knight will get the nod in goal tonight for the Florida Panthers. You would expect Allmark in net here for Boston, although it hasn't been confirmed on his side of things. By the way, Binnington and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, forgot to mention that, St. Louis Buffalo, the goaltenders there. But as far as this one goes, I'm on Boston again, minus 110. I mean, it's just, you're going to keep giving me these prices with a 17-2 team against a Florida team that hasn't overwhelmed me with impressive performances this year, and certainly not in great form of late. 4 of their last 5 they have lost. So I like Bruins here. Once again, minus 110. Alex, Bruins, Panthers.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on the Bruins, and these are 2 of the biggest shocks in the season so far. And I think I'm more shocked, even though I was low on Boston this year. I'm way more shocked by how Florida's playing right now. I just this was a team that looked like they were gonna finally make that next move to being a legitimate Stanley Cup contender. I thought the Maurice hire was great, bringing in that experience, but I think his style of play has kind of turn things around with Florida, and not for the better. I think they were a team that should have really kind of kept that up and down style, that speed style that like I said, doesn't translate over that well in the playoffs. But do what you have to do in the regular season to build up yourself and keep your offense rolling. Taking that step back, I think, has really hurt them a lot. So, he said they're in bad form, and Boston's just playing lights out hockey. I mean, this is a team they're just a collective unit, and I think they're kind of rallying around those old guys, the Bergerons and seeing Marchand come back early from the injury and stuff. I think, the younger core of this team is realizing, hey, these guys, these legends have one more chance. If we play some good hockey, we can, make a deep run, and they're buying into to everything right now. Jim Montgomery's doing a wonderful job as well. So Boston at $1.10, like I said, if they're going to keep giving us these cheap prices with a team rolling this hot, you got to take them.
Yeah, that's the key right there. If this is Boston, even if this is Boston minus 150 or so, I'm off the game. But
Yeah.
we're talking even money here with the Boston Bruins in this game doing a remarkable job. Again, they had a rough start against Tampa Bay, but that's why you have a goaltender to keep you alive, give you a chance basically to get your footing. And Allmark did that the other night against Tampa Bay, and then the Bruins got better and were the better team, I thought, for much of the last two periods. As far as the props go in this game, Zaka's up on the second line, a little value there. Krejci's feeling it right now. You could look in that direction for Boston. Florida's interesting because they've suddenly, Paul Maurice has gotten the blender out lately. He's giving Nick Cousins more ice time lately. He's up to the third line. He actually got 2 points the other night, but especially lately, we've seen more adjustments with the lineup. Colin White's really been in the top six more consistently. He has scored in back-to-back games for the Florida Panthers. Colin White might be a good option, and also moving up to that second line, which is being centered by Sam Bennett in the last few games, has been E2 Cool Mint Lusterinen here for the Florida Panthers. And he has scored goals in 2 of the last 3 games for them. So Lusterinen here at a goal prop is probably worth a look as well, since he's been moved on up the lineup by Paul Maurice for this Florida Panthers team. So a couple good value-laden props there for goal scorers tonight with the Bruins-Panthers game. Toronto Maple Leafs, New Jersey Devils. The Devils looking to make it 13 in a row here and get the franchise record win streak tonight against Toronto. New Jersey minus 135, home favorite, 6.5 being the total in this game. Like I said the other night against Edmonton, I ain't stepping in front of New Jersey. It's just not going to happen. And you talk about the worst timing for the Toronto Maple Leafs to be ravaged by cluster injuries on the blue line. That would be right now, as you're about to take on this, loaded New Jersey team. Like I said, broken record, but I'll say it again because you never know. We always might have new viewers, new listeners, but 4 lines that can score, any one of them for the New Jersey Devils right now. It could be Wood and Bastion on the fourth line. It could be Heishier. It could be Hughes. It could be Zaka. It could be Bratt, former Devil. It could be Bratt. It could be anybody, really. Sharon Govich. I mean, it's just there's so many game breakers for New Jersey. And the Toronto Maple Leafs were already without Jake Muzzin, who are already without TJ Brody, who I think is one of their better, stay-at-home defensemen, shutdown defensemen. And now you've got the guy that's basically all world for them on the blue line because he does everything, right? He's on the power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, good in his own end, good getting the rush up the ice going, and that's Morgan Rielly. Knee-to-knee collision the other night against the Islanders, and now he's going to miss at least a few games, maybe upwards of a month. That's what they're saying because they put him on IR. So you're talking about down maybe your top 2, definitely your top 2 defensemen, Brody and Rielly. You throw Muzzin in there, who's been out for a while. That's a lot of good defenders as well being out for the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. And that is concerning when you're playing this high-powered and potent New Jersey Devils team at the moment. So that's concerning for Toronto. It's going to be, I think, a little tricky. Matt Murray, who's been very good, by the way, since he's returned from injury. He's played great in every game, honestly, even the ones that Toronto did not win. He's going to have to really be on top of his game tonight. Because that is a short-handed blue line now that the Leafs will be unfortunately having to take to the ice with tonight. Giordano and Hall, and now you've got Sandin and Liljegren's normally a third pair. They're the second pair, and this third pair scares the living daylights out of me if I'm a Leaf fan. Jordy Ben with Mac Hollowell, who's been called up from the Toronto Marlies. So that's your third pair tonight against this Devils team. That could be something to worry about. So I like over the total in this game because, again, that's always an over situation for me when I see cluster injuries on the blue line. I think you're going to see that tonight. So over 6.5. Could also go more toward a Devils team total over 3.5 if you like, because I could see them getting to the 4-goal mark tonight in this game, considering the absences and the depletion that we're dealing with right now with the Toronto Maple Leafs on the blue line. So definitely look over the total here. I didn't take the one thing that's going to keep me off the Devils here is you got the short turnaround revenge spot in play which has actually been a winning angle so far this year. Hasn't always won, but it's won more than it's lost. It's when a team has lost to a team just recently in the last week or two, and then they play them again a week or two later. That team that lost the first meeting often has bounced back and won the next game. So that would say bet Toronto here, but I'm not doing that against a team that's won 12 in a row and with a team that has got the injuries on defense that Toronto has right now. Alex, what do you think here, Leafs Devils?
Yeah, I grabbed Devils regulation. I got plus 105 yesterday, and now I'm actually seeing some plus 110s, plus 115. So getting even better value here. I mean, like I said, there's no way you could jump in front of New Jersey right now, especially with all the injuries Toronto's had. And the favorite in this series has won 23 of the last 27 meetings. Mostly that means Toronto has been favored over the years, obviously, but New Jersey is just in great form right now, and I don't see them slowing down one bit. Matt Murray, I think still don't think he's fully back to even half as good as he was years ago. We saw him, turn in a good performance, but chances are he's not going to string them together anymore. See him playing 2, 3, 4 good games in a row. So I like New Jersey here in regulation.
Right, Devils in regulation to get a little bit of a better price for Alex with them here in this game against the Leafs. Nick Robertson, I like to go maybe for the Leafs, though. He's back in the lineup tonight. Looks like he's going to be on the second line with John Tavares and Mitch Marner. And Tavares and Marner have been playing excellent lately for the Leafs. So you're talking about Nick Robertson coming back into the lineup here tonight, second line, and getting that opportunity. So I think there's a good value bet potentially there for him to find the back of the net for the Leafs. And as I always say for the New Jersey Devils, it's a team that it's tough to bet their goal scorer props because you really can't just hone in on one or two players. Could be anybody any given night. So I always say I think at this point in time with what we've seen every night, what we see out of guys like Miles Wood and Nathan Bastian, these guys that play down the lineup, they're getting great chances, great looks, every single night. And, they're not getting the hype and even Michael McLeod, same thing, that whole fourth line. I know, obviously, how Hughes and Bratt and Hischier, Tatar, Sharon Govich get a lot of the offensive credit, but I don't think you can sleep on that fourth line. They always seem to be buzzing. The forecheck is strong, and they always seem to be able to get their share of scoring chances. So definitely, I think the value is with those three on that fourth line of the Devils, Wood, Bastian, and even McLeod, who's found the back of the net in some recent games as well. All right, we got Montreal and Columbus next up. Murray and Vanacek, by the way, the goalies in the Leaf Devils game, as you would expect. Montreal, Columbus, we've got Columbus minus 120, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this game. So I was against Montreal last night. I'm going to be on Montreal tonight at plus 100 here. They lost to Columbus last week in a game I thought they played horrible in that game against a ravaged Columbus team. I'm sure that won't sit well with them going into this rematch here tonight. They just didn't play a good hockey game. Too many mistakes, too many breakdowns, too many issues with puck management, and they paid the price for it. At some point we, I think, are going to see this Blue Jackets team not be able to keep this up with all the injuries. And let's be honest, they got bailed out by Tarasov in the Florida game on Sunday. That was definitely a game where they gave up 50 shots. I mean, they're not supposed to win that game, Columbus. But, Tarasov played this out of his skull good hockey game. And shockingly, Brad Larsen's going back to Korpisalo here. You'd think Tarasov, that kind of effort, you're going to see him back in between the pipes here for the Jackets tonight. Not the case. Going back to Jonas Korpisalo here in net against Montreal. With Allen starting last night, you would expect Sam Montembeault to be in net tonight for Montreal, and he's the guy that was in net against Columbus last week. I don't think you could have blamed him for a lot. The whole team was bad, but he also allowed the 5 goals in that 6-4 loss. Chance for redemption for him. He still has an overall winning record, believe it or not, 3-2. Sam Montembeault this year, 2.83 goals against, 915 save percentage. I think Montreal, after getting scorched last night, 7-2 by Buffalo, I think they bounce back strong. They do have the rest disadvantage, of course. It's back-to-back for them. That's not the case for Columbus, who actually come in with 2 days off. They haven't played since that Sunday game against Florida. But nevertheless, I think Montreal's worth a look here, plus 100 after that loss last night. And I think at some point when you're without Shinikov's out too now for Columbus. Just keeps getting worse. You're without him. You're without Tessier. You're without 3 starting D, Boquist, Blankenberg, Bean. You're without Danforth and Lyonnais. Your Merzlikin's hurt. Voracek hurt. Werenski hurt. I mean, at some point, you're going to feel these absences and you're not going to be able to keep winning hockey games. It's just not going to be possible. Hopefully, tonight's that night. I like Montreal in a bounce back spot, even with the rest disadvantage. I'm going to go over the total because that's what I'm doing every game right now with the Columbus Blue Jackets. What do you think here, Alex? Montreal, Columbus.
Yeah, I can't lay a price with Columbus except based on how banged up they are, even though they've been playing very well, winning 3 of the last 4. But I just don't think that Montreal is really gonna bring it tonight, even with how bad they played last night. Columbus has played them well. They've won the last 6 meetings with them. If this was a plus price with Columbus, I probably would take a shot with them. But laying $1.20 and higher, this would be a pass for me.
All right, pass for Alex here with the Canadians and the Blue Jackets. All right, next up here, we've got the Calgary Flames and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Good matchup. Pittsburgh minus 130, home favorites, 6.5 the total in this one. The Calgary Flames, I'm waiting for this team to get red hot like a flame, essentially, and get on a roll. See that the effort I get nightly from this team, I want to start seeing it result in W's because I keep saying it and I'll just keep on banging the drum of Calgary during the losses here in the month of November. They've played better than those losses would indicate. There's so many games they've lost this month where they outplayed the opponent. They had the puck more. They were in the offensive zone more. They were generating more chances than their opponent. And I stand by that. Calgary, is probably playing better than a 9-9 record would indicate right now. I know they are, but they just had some issues where every little breakdown was going in their net. Markstrom had a few games where he was off and not playing all that great, and that contributed to some of the losses. But they've now won 4 of their last 5, much better. The only loss was against Tampa Bay, where Vasilevsky had probably his best game of the season. I don't think it's debatable. That was easily, he hasn't had many games where he's looked like last year's Vasilevsky. He did against Calgary. That's the only loss for the Flames in their last 5 games. They beat LA and Winnipeg at home, and then they've won each of the last 2 games on this road trip against Florida and Philadelphia. We'll see if that can continue here against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's won 3 in a row, though, after a little bit of a funk, beating Minnesota 6-4, shutting out Winnipeg 3-0. Taking care of business against Chicago, a feisty Chicago team, but Pittsburgh gets the win 5-3 on Marian Hossa's retirement jersey night. That was a great ceremony that was put on by Chicago definitely before that game. Pittsburgh, though, got the victory. Now they return home off the mini road trip. I'm definitely not laying minus 130. I'm making up my mind on if I want to bet Calgary here in this spot, and I'm not sure I will this time because Pittsburgh's playing better. You've got Pittsburgh, too, that lost to Calgary earlier this year. So you've also got that revenge situation and play, which again has been profitable. It hasn't won every time, but as I've said, you've been betting the team that lost the recent meeting against that team in this rematch. You've done well. And that's another thing to factor in with that Toronto game, by the way. Toronto did this against Pittsburgh. Remember, Toronto lost Hall of Fame night against Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. Next week in Pittsburgh, what happened? They beat Pittsburgh. So that's another thing. That's why Toronto's not totally done for tonight against New Jersey. I wouldn't be totally shocked if they end the streak, but with the defensive depletion, it'll be difficult. But that's also why I'm going to stay off Calgary here a little bit. Pittsburgh in revenge mode, playing well. The road trip, the miles are accruing a little bit. So I lean Calgary. I don't think I'll get there. Maybe this game gets over, though, because Calgary's suddenly high-scoring ways here on this road trip. It's been kind of weird to see it transpire. But, on the road this year, they had the Islander game that went over the total. They had the Florida game went over the total, Philadelphia over. So kind of been going over on this road trip here, the Flames trending in that direction. What are you thinking here, Alex? Flames and Penguin?
Yeah, when you mentioned about revenge spots, this is one that I kind of had circled because Pittsburgh, I mean, they laid an egg on that whole trip out west when they played Calgary. Now they're in much better form, won 3 in a row, and I think they're really starting to kind of find their legs a little bit here, where Calgary is still, playing well, but kind of beating up on some of the weaker teams, now having to take a step up in class. I think Pittsburgh's going to be ready and focused here. I found $1.20 at a couple of shops, so that's the price I laid with Pittsburgh. Don't want to take a shot with regulation. I could easily see this being a close enough game where it might go into OT. So I'm just going to go with the Penguins and land $1.20.
Yeah. Dan Vladar, by the way, in net, giving Markstrom a rest tonight. Dan Vladar starting for Calgary. Tristan Jarry starting for Pittsburgh by necessity because Casey DeSmith has been put on injury reserve, it looks like, for the Pittsburgh Penguins, or at least his day-to-day from the looks of it, but not available And that's why Tristan Jarry in that. And Tristan Jarry's had his issues, this year. Only 3.27 goals against, 904 save percentage. I remember with Vladar, I think his first start of the year was pretty good against I think it was
I think with Edmonton, the Edmonton
Edmonton.
game, he had
Yeah.
he had a good night.
And since then, it's been a little bit of more of a downfall for him, but he is still capable. I mean, you just don't know when you're going to get that great start every night. So it's another reason why I was thinking maybe this game goes over the total. It just might. I might add that to the card here tonight, the over. When it comes to the Flames and the Penguins here. And plus the first game off a road trip, sometimes that's an over spot, a little sloppy in that first game back home. Next up, you've got Edmonton Oilers, New York Islanders. We've got the Islanders minus 120, home favorites, 6.5 being the total in this game. Oh, hold on. Before we continue on that game there, back to the Flames for a minute. Props. Zucker. I mean, Zucker's just been great lately for the Pittsburgh Penguins, and I've mentioned him repeatedly on this show. He is the offensive dynamo at the moment for the Pittsburgh Penguins on that second line with Malkin and Rust. He's been playing extremely well. He has scored 3 goals in the last 5 games. You could look in that direction. Of course, I've talked about the Adam Ruzicka repeatedly, who's been moved up to the top line for the Calgary Flames and has thrived there with Lindholm and Toffoli. Something to keep in mind there as well, that he's probably worth a look. Dubé back up to the second line, maybe a chance for him to find the back of that. He's been snake bit, man. He's had so many chances, Dylan Dubé, but now up to the second line, maybe he'll have a look. Yeah, Brock McGinn, another solid option. Dan in the chat, I like that as well. All of a sudden, you're starting to see him of late lighted up for the Penguins, even though he's playing on the third line. He has scored goals now in 5 of the last 7 games. We've seen a goal scored by Brock McGinn, so another solid option there from a value standpoint. All right, Oilers, Islanders minus 125, home favorite, 6 the total in this game. The Islanders come back, beat Toronto the other night in overtime. Nice solid win for them in that game. We'll see if they can keep the good vibes going and the winning ways going tonight, returning home, taking on the Edmonton Oilers. I get a sneaking suspicion with Edmonton losing with Stuart Skinner in net the other night against New Jersey. And the one goal was a bad cough up of the puck by Skinner as well. He just mishandled it, and it ended up going to New Jersey, pass in front, and there's Dawson Mercer with a wide open net. Bit of a mishap. They lose that game. They give up some goals. It was not one of Skinner's better games. I think this is the opening of the door that Jack Campbell's been waiting for, maybe to get back in net tonight. It wouldn't surprise me to see Jack Campbell start tonight for the Oilers. Jay Woodcroft and the Oilers don't look like they've made that official yet. We're still waiting to see who's going to be in goal for the Oilers, but it's another opportunity for Jack Campbell to try at least to right the ship, because we know it's been definitely a struggle for him in his first year with the Edmonton Oilers. This team just continues to be really up and down, up and down. They lose 3 in a row. They beat Tampa. They lose to Carolina. They beat Florida. They lose to L.A. They beat Vegas in overtime, and then they start the road trip losing to New Jersey 5-2 the other night. So it's just been up and down, up and down, up and down. The Islanders, on the other hand, 3-2. Like I said, they beat Toronto to snap a mini 2-game losing streak for them. I'm more inclined probably to look over here at 6. We talk about the Islanders have kind of been trending more toward overs. I don't know if I can trust Jack Campbell to put up a goose egg or keep the goals against at a minimum with what we've seen from him throughout the course of the season. So that's kind of the way I lean here. I'm very interested in this spot to maybe look Oilers as well, but I don't know if I can do it because of the fact that we've just not seen this team play consistently defensively. They put a lot on the shoulders of Connor McDavid lately, and he's not always gotten that great support lately from the second line, from the third line. I mean, Yamamoto hasn't contributed enough. They need more out of this Jesse Puljujärvi guy, and I'm hoping that he eventually will find the back of the net for this team with the opportunity he keeps on getting. Because of obviously, look, Evander Kane's not coming back anytime soon, guys. Someone's going to have to step up in that position there on that top line. Yamamoto struggled. Now he's obviously injured and unavailable. He wasn't able to get it done in that spot on that top line. They've given Puljujärvi a look there, and the goals haven't really been coming for him. Now you're going to put Hyman and Fogle next to Connor McDavid on that top line, and he's the one I would look at. Warren Fogle for Edmonton. We know there's some offense in this guy. We know he was a pretty good playoff goal scorer for Carolina a few years ago. The opportunity now with the ice time he's going to get, it's going to be playing with Connor McDavid. He's a guy that's gotten some offense going all of a sudden, 3 goals in the last 6 games for him. You look at the shots on goal numbers consistently, firing the puck. Now you play with McDavid. Warren Fogle might be that good value goal scorer prop tonight for the Edmonton Oilers, getting this opportunity tonight on the top line with McDavid and Hyman. Alex, what do you think here, Oilers Islanders?
Yeah, I like the draw here at plus 330. I think this could be one of those back and forth kind of games where, like I said, these are two teams that just really have kind of been out of sync in their form. Like I said, haven't been able to find consistency for the most part with either team. I also would look for the over, but I would wait to grab it in game. Chris Otto mentioned in the chat, I always like to start off a little bit slow and then kind of up the tempo a little bit. So I think you'll be able to get a great 5.5 at a plus price, maybe even lower than that potentially. So those are the 2 spots I'm looking at: draw plus 330, and I'm looking at a live over, anything in the 5.5 range at a plus price.
All right, there we go. Again, Oilers and Islanders there. We'll see how that one transpires. All right, next up, we got the Philadelphia Flyers and Washington Capitals. Washington minus 220 home favorites. This total has actually dropped to 5.5 in a few spots. Some 6s, some 5.5s. So make sure you shop around. If you like an under, if you like the under, find a 6. If you like the over, see if you can find a 5.5 here in this game. Capitals have lost 4 in a row, but the Philadelphia Flyers have lost 7 in a row. Pick your poison. I ain't picking any of these teams right now, so I don't want either side. A game like this, I would say take the plus price. Take the dog. Dog or pass. Dog or pass is what I'll always say in a game like this. 2 scuffling teams, 2 struggling teams, and definitely a situation where I think you're going to end up seeing, you do worse than taking plus 190. In this game, because even though Philly's lost 7 in a row, it's not like they've been pathetic in every game. The Calgary game, it was 3-2 in the third period, and then Calgary put it away with 2 empty net goals. The Montreal game, they lose in a shootout. Boston 4-1. I thought their effort was commendable in that game, and it took a while for Boston to get going, losing overtime to Columbus. So these recent losses, it's not like it's been a lack of effort. It's just been a lack of offense. It's been, I think Carter Hart hasn't played nearly as well the last few games as well. That's been a little bit of an issue for the Philadelphia Flyers. So I think I'm talking myself into Philly. I don't think I will bet Philly, but I'm telling you what, I would sure as fuck rather have Philly plus 190 than Washington minus 220. And keep in mind, the Capitals still beaten up to shit. We've harped on this theme for weeks now, just how ravaged this team is in terms of the injury situation that they've had to deal with. And it's unfortunate, but it is what it is. You got to somehow deal with it if you're them. But certainly a ton of key cogs remaining out of the lineup for the Washington Capitals. Orlov on the blue line, Wilson, Brown, Backstrom, Hagelin up front. At least now TJ Oshie's back. All right. That is the big news of significance here for them. And we know the difference in the Washington Capitals record with and without TJ Oshie on the ice. So getting him back is significant, but I'd still lean Philadelphia at this price. This is just too much of a number for the Capitals to be laying at the moment. What do you think here, Alex? Flyers and Capitals?
Yeah, it's a pass for me. Like I said, there's no way Washington should be laying anywhere in the $2 range, but you can't back this beat up Philly team even at a plus 190 price. That's 5.5 is a bit interesting. Um, these are 2 teams that really kind of just been splitsville as far as totals go. Washington 9-10-1 in totals this year. Philly 9-9-1. So, you're not really getting much value even with a 5.5. You could try and maybe if your book has 5.5, try to wait and catch an even lower price in game. But I'm just not gonna touch this one. This is a pass for me altogether.
All right, Sonny Milano is worth a look, I think, for the goal scorer prop mark. And Sheary, those same 2 guys. I mean, for Washington, they've been pretty good lately. Philadelphia, again, you hate the center ice situation. I mean, with what's going on with Konechny out, all the injuries they have at the center ice spot. Couturier hasn't played yet this year. They're gutted at center ice. They got Frost, Cates, Brown, and Sedlak as their top 4 centers. That's just not, like I say, really an NHL caliber quartet, if you will, in terms of your center ice position. So that's also something that's really worrisome and troubling if you're the Philadelphia Flyers right now. All right, next up, Nashville, Detroit. We've got Detroit minus 130, home favorites, 6 being the total here in this game with the Predators and the Red Wings. Let me just there's one thing I didn't mention. The last game is the goalie matchup, but we'll just get confirmation of that right now. Here we go. All right. All right, here we go. Philly and Washington, the goalie matchup here, confirmed or not. Let's see. It is, there we go. Darcy Kemper for Washington, projected to be Carter Hart for Philadelphia, but no confirmation yet about that. So again, with Konechny, Couturier, Lawton, center ice, like I say, still out. So very shorthanded in terms of the center ice spot. Nashville, Detroit, I like the Red Wings here, honestly. Minus 130 here in this game. I mean, Nashville on the road is not something I fully endorse. 3-5 they are. Pretty bad road record this year for the Nashville Predators. Detroit won the last 2 games of their road trip, 7-4 against San Jose, 6-1 against Columbus. A nice little bit of rest to catch their breath. 3 full days off. That's rare in the schedule these days. I mean, we haven't seen Detroit play since that Saturday night game against Columbus. I think that's going to benefit them well here in this game. I know Nashville, they've won 4 of their last 5. They picked it up a little bit, but man, they're living a charmed life right now. Could have lost to the Rangers, 1-goal win against Minnesota, 1-goal win against the Islanders, overtime loss rather against Tampa, and overtime shootout win against Arizona the other night. It's not like things are getting done easily for the Nashville Predators right now. They're finding ways to win all of these close games at the moment. So that's definitely something that would concern me. Lankinen in net for the Nashville Predators, 2.6 goals against, 921 save percentage. Not bad, actually. He hasn't played that terribly this year for the Nashville Predators. But facing this Detroit team, which, again, found their offense going here these last 2 games of that road trip, I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for him. And like I say, I don't like this Nashville track record on the road. They've done well against Detroit. That would be the thing that's on their side. But I like the Red Wings here at a minus 130 price. Alex, what do you think here, Preds and Red Wings?
Yeah, I like this first period over, but I'm going to wait for it to drop. Even though I'm seeing the $1.40, $1.45, I'm going to try and grab this in game. I think we'll see. This would be one of those games I feel like could go up and down. So I'll probably look at an over 6 as well. This feels like it could just be they roll the puck out and go back and forth. Nashville, like I said, played well against Detroit, but they have not been that good of a road team. Lankinen is just a guy. He's had some decent numbers, and a lot of those saves and some of his appearances that have been good were in relief. Nights where Saros didn't step up and play well for Detroit. I mean, if it's Nedeljkovic, hard to lay $1.30, hard to lay anything really with Ned the way that he's been playing so far this season. So I like the overs. I like first period over. I grab that live, but I'll grab over 6 now. Kind of shop around and see. That should be what, in the $1.20, $1.25 range. That's worth playing right now. I think we can see a lot of goals in this one.
All right. Let me just see here. I don't know if for sure it's been confirmed Nedeljkovic yet. It hasn't been yet. But if it is him, I like that over. I'll probably bet that over if it is him. If it's Husso, who's actually been solid for most of the season for Detroit, then that's when I'll bet Detroit either way. But I'll definitely like the over more if Nedeljkovic is confirmed, because you're right. He is definitely. We've definitely seen enough sample size from both of the Detroit goalies that we're now pretty clearly we can see Husso's been the better of the 2 options in net this season for the Red Wings, no question, with his play recently. All right, prop-wise, let me just see what we've got here. There's a couple guys I was considering. Kubalik's, roaring right now for the Red Wings. I wouldn't argue with that. Definitely the way he's been contributing right now. And I keep mentioning our guy Parsonen here on the top line center spot for Nashville. Getting those quality looks every night might be something you want to consider here in terms of goal props. All right, Chicago and Dallas next up here. Dallas, wow, huge number here, minus 310 in most spots here with the Dallas Stars. Total in this one right now sitting at 6 pretty much across the board. Probably not going to get involved in this game overall when it's all said and done. Dallas should win. A bounce back for them after a hard-fought but tough loss the other night against the Colorado Avalanche. Obviously, on home ice, they've played pretty solidly this year. Chicago, valiant effort against Pittsburgh, but fall short 5-3. And suddenly, they've been giving up some goals in bunches again. 5, 6, 5 allowed in the last 3 games by this Blackhawks team, which hasn't been good. Their defensive games deteriorated. We've got Cotton Candy and plastic body parts known as Peter Mrazek in net here for the Chicago Blackhawks. We'll see how long he stays healthy and in there. And if he does, is he going to be able to play well? Because I haven't been impressed. 1-3, 3.65 goals against, 889 save percentage. Jake Ottinger gets the start here for the Stars in net for them. So I would, if anything here, I would look maybe at a 3.5 over with the team total of Dallas in this game. That could be something to consider. It's minus 140 to 45 in a lot of spots, but I think I might get there with that rather than the minus 310. That's what I like to do with the big favorites. You got a Dallas team that probably can get 4 goals tonight against Chicago. Chicago's given up, I believe, 5 or more now in 3 straight games, which isn't good. Dallas should be able to get to 4 goals. And look, we've talked about this with Dallas, Alex. Ben and Sagan are going for them right now. They're engaged. They're making things happen. And look at how much of a better team Dallas is when that's the case. When those two guys are actually locked in, focused, playing at a high level, which isn't always the case. We know that. It just makes them a completely different, better hockey team. And, of course, Jason Robertson, what else can you say? Keeps on doing his thing as well for the Dallas Stars. So I think I'm going to end up on that Stars team total here, over 3.5. Alex, what do you think here, Blackhawks Stars?
Yeah, I'm taking a shot with the Stars on the first period puck line. We're still getting plus value with that. I'm seeing anywhere from even money up to plus $1.10 or $1.15. I got a plus $1.10. I mean, this is just it should be a lopsided affair. Obviously, Dallas is way better than Chicago. You got the huge edge in goaltending. Ottinger going against Mrazek. These two teams have played each other pretty tight, though. We saw last year 4 meetings, 3 of them go to OT. That last meeting was 6-4. That was a late empty net goal. I do remember that because I had the draw in 2 of those 4 games last year. So I would take maybe a slight shot with that at plus 400. That is a bit high. If Dallas decides to lay an egg tonight, like I said, sometimes with these big favorites heading into the holiday, we have seen stranger things happen. So if the Hawks can keep it close, this will probably be. I'm gonna play Dallas. I already played Dallas first period puck line. So what I'll do is, if that doesn't cash, let's say it's a 1-1 game, or I'm seeing some good pace and some good pushback from the Hawks, then maybe look to grab a live draw on the 3-way line. It won't be anywhere plus 400 necessarily, but still probably able to get some good value, probably in the 285 to 325 range. So that's the way I'm going to attack that. I'm going Stars first period puck line, laying the half a goal, and then try to look for maybe a draw spot if that doesn't cash and the Hawks kind of show some fighting energy early.
Yeah, that's not bad because Dallas might be in for a battle if they don't jump out early. We'll see if they do. Dallas first period puck line for Alex, and then we'll reevaluate things after the first period from that point. But yeah, as far as the like I say, the props go. Again, they're all playing well. Ben, Sagan, Robertson, Hintz, take your pick. Unfortunately, they took our guy Matej Blumel out of the lineup. We tried to take a couple shots with props on him, but it wasn't the case. So definitely some options there for Dallas. You can go in a bunch of different directions because they've got multiple top 6 forwards that are feeling it at the moment right now for the Dallas Stars. All right, who's not feeling it right now? The Anaheim Ducks. I mean, my goodness, it continues to be a brutal season for them so far. Hey, Betty Crocker is going to burn the odd cake. I always say that every now and then. And my Anaheim over season point total, that's looking like as bad as it gets from a preseason prognostication standpoint. They look like they're not even going to sniff that point total at this point in time. But it's been very disheartening to see what's happening with the Anaheim Ducks. They host the New York Rangers tonight. Rangers minus 155, road favorites, 6 the total in this game. I mean, what do you do here? It's a tough game. I mean, I don't think I could get there with Anaheim the way they're playing right now. It's just been, and what's problematic now is they're still yielding the goals, which has been their issue all year. The penalty kill still sucks. I mean, they just haven't fixed that. And 4 straight games again with a power play goal given up. It's still a horrible, horrendous penalty kill. And you got to think the Rangers power play points. Once again, I've said this every Anaheim game lately. If you're going to bet Rangers player props, bet the freaking power play points. Because Anaheim just cannot get a kill right now at this point in time with the PK. So the New York Rangers have a pretty solid power play as well. Rangers coming into this game power play wise, number 10 in the NHL, top 10 power play percentage. So they should be able to do some with Kreider and Zibanejad and who they can throw out there on the power play. You'd think some power play points are going to be where Adam Fox was always playing big minutes on the power play. So yeah, Dallas Aikens has definitely got to be on borrowed time. There's no question about that. It's just and just a question of how long they're going to wait really to make a change at this point. But yeah, for Anaheim, 5-14 on the season. It's been absolutely brutal. They've been 3-4 at home. They've actually been, somewhat better at home, but that's not saying a whole lot. It's been on the road where they've been absolutely cannibalized here so far. The Rangers have won 3 of their last 4, beating Arizona, beating San Jose, beating the Kings. That was a good win against the Kings last night because it started out poorly. They're down 2-0 in that game, and then they rally back and they take control of that game from that point on and get a nice 5-3 comeback win last night against the LA Kings. But now you're on the second night of back-to-back games on this road trip. Probably a very strong chance of Jarro Halak being in net tonight for the Rangers, considering it's a back-to-back. I would fully expecting him to be in between the pipes here for the Rangers. And he, by the way, in 4 starts this year, believe it or not, 0-4. So that's probably what pumps the brakes about laying a -155 price for me with the New York Rangers. Halak 0-4, 3.22 goals against average, 883 save percentage. I certainly am interested maybe in, again, Anaheim's not scoring right now. That's the concern. I mean, their offense was the strength of that team. If they had anything that they were good at early in the year, Alex, it was that they could put the puck in the net. Well, they've scored just 5 goals in the last 3 games combined. So that offense has dried up. But you got to think if Halak's in net, tired Rangers team maybe a little bit, they take advantage of that situation, find the back of the net. Rangers should, you would think, as well in this game. So kind of lean over, especially if Halak is confirmed in net for them in this game, which I would expect. Alex, what are you thinking here? Rangers, Duck?
Yeah, that's the only thing I could look at would be the over. This could be a up and down pace. I mean, obviously Gibson's been terrible. The Ducks have been terrible as a whole, but Halak is definitely someone you can't lay. Even I wouldn't lay $1.20 with him, let alone $1.55, $1.60 with him in net. And especially on the second night of a back-to-back, heading into the holiday, this definitely feels like it could be a bit of a track meet. That's the only thing I'd look at would be over. I'm not going to play that officially. I might try to see if I can grab a better price in game, but this is definitely one of those kind of games where it could be real weird. And if we see the Rangers kind of lay an egg a little bit, and Anaheim get that offense going, their momentum kind of rolling a little bit. That doesn't mean that the Rangers are just going to mail it in. They could come right back and fire. So we'll have the over circled for something in game potentially, but just definitely a pass on the sides.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Pass for Alex here in this one. Definitely monitoring the status of the New York Rangers goaltending before going forward with this game, but definitely eyeing the over if we see a Halak sighting in net for the Rangers tonight. All right, we got San Jose and Seattle next up here. Seattle Kraken -170, home favorites here at Climate Pledge Arena. I almost want to keep calling it Climate Change Arena, but I keep, remembering Pledge. Seattle -176, the total in this one. I mean, here we go again. I mean, this is that same theme, right, that I've had consistently with the San Jose Sharks. How the hell can we pass up betting over 2.5 -120 team total? San Jose right now. That's the price here in this game. I mean, this has been a team that has scored at least 3 goals in 10 of their last 11 games. They obviously get the victory 5-1 over Ottawa in their last game, feeling it offensively at this point in time. And yeah, -118 at Pinnacle to bet Sharks team total over 2.5. I like that. We've been on this theme a bunch, been on this bet a bunch of times during this run, and I think there's probably a good chance we see them hit 3 goals tonight. Martin Jones in net, Kakkonen in net once again for San Jose. He was actually solid in the game against Ottawa the other night. But do we trust him game to game? That ends up being the concern. Martin Jones for the look, he's been really good. I mean, he's given up 2 goals or less now for the Seattle Kraken in 6 of the last 7 starts. I mean, that's pretty impressive, and you don't expect that from Jones, but it's also why maybe this team total's lower than it could be. So I still think even with Jones in good form, San Jose, they've just been automatic getting to 3 goals lately, and it's Couture, it's LeBanc, it's Meyer, it's Hurdle. They're getting contributions from their big guns right now during this streak where they've been putting the puck in the net. So I like San Jose team total over 2.5 here in this game. And look who's joining us now. Wednesday special guest appearance. There he is, Jimmy Murphy. Jimmy Puckline with us here on the Ice Guys. Jimmy, what's up?
Not much, guys. How you doing? Sorry for the delay there. Once again, I am in a hotel room this week for my visit with you guys, but took a bit getting checked in, and then I don't know if you saw my tweet. So I'm staying like 25 minutes outside of Boston, And not only can I not watch the World Cup right now, there's no Fox on the direct TV that they have here in the room, but I just realized they don't have Nesson.
Oh,
We're
wow.
How is
25
that
minutes
possible
outside
in
of
a
Boston.
Massachusetts hotel? How is
Yeah.
that possible?
I have no idea. And the woman at the front desk is clueless. So it looks like I'm going to be hitting the local for the Bruins game tonight.
Yeah, if you want any chance of watching it here, Boston taking on Florida, and a good hockey game too. Definitely. Yeah, you're going to have to hit the local watering holes around that hotel. No doubt about that. That's unbelievable. That's there's people on radio that have bitched for years that when they travel and they go to hotels, there's still a bunch of hotels that don't offer ESPN2, that don't offer Fox Sports 1,
Wow.
any of these networks. It's hard to believe after all this time.
Well, remember too, a lot of places at first weren't doing Versus back in the day, and then NBC Sports Network, when that first started up and ramped up with their hockey coverage, it was tough to get. I know from experience. So I don't know what the deal is, what these like subscriptions are that the hotels do, but somebody needs to lose their job.
Yeah, definitely. That's got to be frustrating when you're, especially those people that some people have to travel for their job.
Well,
and if you're a sports fan, you're out of luck sometimes. Yeah,
we get American Thanksgiving tomorrow, so I mean, a lot of people probably in hotels right now.
Yeah, no doubt. So get your TV shit fixed and figured out. All your big hotel chains is ridiculous. Can't even get Fox Sports 1. How long has Fox Sports 1 been around now? Almost a decade. Probably going on a decade now.
Yeah.
FS1. And still some hotels don't offer it. That's hard to believe. We'll play catch up here with Jimmy. We'll ramble right through the card here, starting with the games we've already talked about. Anything for you, Jimmy, you like? Arizona, Carolina.
Arizona, Carolina. I've got no feel on that game. I was trying to look at it and find a little angle there, but it's just not hit me.
All right, St. Louis, Buffalo.
I like the Sabres on the tail end of the back-to-back, and I know that St. Louis has been better as of late, and I get that, but I feel like last night maybe turned things around for the Sabres and they get back on track here. So let me take them on the money line.
Yeah, that one's a tough one because St. Louis is playing great. Don't really love fading them, but there's something to it about the team that is on the losing streak. They snap it and then they go in the other direction and they win a few.
Yeah, and this is one of the few sellouts, guys. I know people in Buffalo that go to a lot of Sabres games. They said that this is one of the few guaranteed sellouts of the season is the night before Thanksgiving in Buffalo. They're always home that night. The place is going to be rocking. Wow. As Alex will attest, he's from the States here. I mean, I think where you are, Alex, I know where I am, it's the biggest drinking night of the year is what it's considered. It's amateur night. I think it's worse than New Year's Eve, actually.
Yeah, I was saying more people drink than this night than St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, it's true. So I think the place is going to be jacked up and ready to go, and I think the Sabres take it.
All right, Buffalo, and the money's come in on Buffalo too because St. Louis opened minus 180. It's down to minus 155 now, minus 150 in that game. All right, Winnipeg, Minnesota, Jimmy.
Liking a Wild here, and I'm liking an over. I think it's going to be a fun game, a track meet maybe, and the Wild need a big win like this. And again, they're home on this fun festive night in that barn, and they always pack the place, but from what I hear, talking to some people in that organization, man, the fans are getting restless this year. Yep. There's some big expectations, and I think that they need to go on a tear here. So give me the Wild in this one.
Yeah, and we'll see, too, because even that XL Energy Center hasn't been the home ice edge that it's been in years past. We'll see if they can get it going there tonight. And then, of course, Jimmy, the game that obviously Boston Bruins, Florida Panthers. Is there some truth to maybe after the big 1,000-point night for Patrice the other night, they fall a little flat? I don't think so. But even if they do, they're playing too good. They're 17-2 hockey team. They're minus 110 tonight. I had to take the Bruins here again.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I think you're on to something there. I'm not going to bet against them on the whole game, but I love the Panthers in the first period. I really do. I think the Panthers come out fired up. Let's not forget the whooping that the Bruins put on the Panthers up in Boston. I think it was the second game of the year for the Bruins on Monday night, if I recall correctly. Yep. Every team gets up for the Bruins now, obviously, because of where they are in the standings and the start they've had. But this is an even bigger game because I don't care what the Panthers and their fans will say. They've always sort of felt inferior to the Bruins. But now you could argue heading into this year, at least, maybe not now, but on paper heading into this year, that Florida was a better team. And we saw what they did last year, winning the President's Trophy. So this is a big game, another measuring stick for a Bruins opponent, but also for the Bruins too. I think they'll fall behind, but they need to bounce back like they've been able to do.
All right, there we go. So we'll see if the Boston Bruins can, like I say, it was a big win against Tampa, the big 1,000th point for Patrice Bergeron. We'll see if they can
Hey, guys, I'm going to
maintain
throw a
success.
quick crazy prop in there right now. I haven't
Okay,
even
yes.
But he's back in for the first time in, I believe, 4 games. In all 4 games, he's healthy scratch. And that's Craig Smith coming in for Trent Frederick into the lineup.
Yep.
Him at plus 400 to score a goal.
Yeah. That's what I did with Nick Robertson for Toronto in the game against New
Yep.
Jersey tonight. He's been scratched for a while. He's on the second line tonight with Marner and Tavares.
Yeah, I heard a good story today that he was on the radio here locally when I was driving down towards Boston. Coach Jim Montgomery was on the local channel, the Sports Hub, and he said that yesterday he actually took Craig Smith out to eat for lunch and just had a one-on-one with him, kind of just said, look, man, let it out. I know you're frustrated. You've been scratched a lot. And, you know, I can confirm that the Bruins have been trying to find somebody to take him in a trade. So, you know, he said, I need to know where he's at mentally, and I want him to know he's part of this team.
Right.
And I was like, well, I've never heard a coach do that, or at least admit doing it.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe that, you know, kind of gets Smith going right now. Maybe it's a sort of a new lease on life for the season for him.
I think Jim's hitting all the right buttons because he knows Bruce got a raw deal, and I think the players were a little shocked Bruce was gone, and he's trying to calm the waters and say, hey, there's some people maybe upset, disappointed, shocked that Bruce is gone, but I'm coming here and I'm going to do right by you guys.
I can tell you, Ian, I mean, I was upset because he was a great quote, and I had a good relationship with him. But I can tell you the majority of the players, I mean, from everything I've learned ever since and what happened, there are a lot of happy people in that locker room that he was gone. And that's what you're seeing right now. This is sort of a lot of frustration just pouring out, and they're channeling it the right way. And, you know, like I said, I told you this before, I like the job Montgomery's doing, but I also think he's the beneficiary of one of the best leadership corps in the NHL. And, you know, a good conduit to the players there, and the Bergerons and the Krejcis and the Folignos and even McAvoy. So, you know, I think it was a good situation for both. Bruce has found success in Vegas, and this was the right time to just put somebody else in there.
Yeah, no, it is. And it's 2 of the best teams in the league right now, Boston and Vegas right now.
What?
Toronto, New Jersey, Jimmy, what are you liking here?
Well, man, I'm not betting against Jersey again. I tried with the Sens last week, remember? You know, I'm going to stay away from the sideness. I do like the over. I think this is going to be a fun, high-scoring game. If I was going to pick a winner, I kind of would. I do like Toronto a bit. I just do. I don't know why. I mean, sooner or later, this is going to end, and I think Toronto needs a big win. So I think it's going to be a good game. I don't think by any means this Jersey's going to run away with it. I think it'll be a good game.
Can they dig down without Riley, without Brody, 2 of their best defensemen on the blue? That's the one hang up I've got with the Leafs tonight. Can they overcome that against this potent New Jersey team? That's the biggest question. All right, Montreal, Columbus, Jimmy.
Loving the Habs here. Loving the Habs. I took them at even money earlier in the day. I don't know where they're at right now.
Yep, same price.
Same price. Well, I'm loving that. Just a revenge game for them. Having played them, you know, what was it, 5 days ago, 6 days ago, over in Columbus, same place. And now they're going back there for another shot. So I like them in a revenge game for sure.
All right, Calgary, Pittsburgh.
This is going to be a great game, guys. I think this is one where I'm going to be kind of tossing back and forth if I can in the local here. But I like this game. I think it's going to be fun. I'm going to take a draw in this. I think these guys go head to head and really maybe even head to a shootout to finalize things.
All right, Oilers, Islanders, Jimmy.
Give me the Oilers on the money line.
God, I want to take them badly too. I really do. I mean, it's just I think they're showing up tonight after the tough, hard-fought game against New Jersey. It's just can we get Campbell to bear down and play well? Because I think he's starting tonight. I really do. I think Jack Campbell's going to start. Will he bear down? I want to take Edmonton badly, but I don't know if I will. Philly, Washington. Like I say, I could only go dog or pass here, but Philly's got Frost, Cates, Sedlak, and someone else is their top 4 centers. It's bad. I mean, Morgan Frost is your top line center. That's how bad it is. Washington's depleted. I lean Philly, but I don't want any part of these 2 teams right now.
I'm with you. I want nothing to do with this game.
Yeah. Nashville, Detroit. What do you think?
A Jimmy puck line on this one, folks. Give me the Red Wings -1.5.
Yeah, I like Detroit there as well. Chicago, Dallas.
Oof. I mean, definitely looking in the Dallas side, but just trying to figure out a way to get value there.
Alex likes first period puck line. I'm on the team total over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go with the Alex one. Let's
There
do
you
that.
go. First period puck line. All right, sounds good. And Rangers Ducks.
Rangers Ducks. I heard what you said there. I'm loving the over in the first here. I like the over all around, and I'm going to take a team total over on the Ducks.
It's only 2.5. Yep.
Yeah,
With Halak potentially in net.
Halak is not himself this year, man. I don't know what's going on with him. I heard you guys talking about it before I came on, and he's just he's off. His angle's off, everything. So he's not in a good place. They're coming off a win last night. Maybe they went out and partied in LA. So I'm almost tempted to take the Ducks straight up. You know what? Screw it. That's my Turkey Day special. Give me the Ducks straight up.
Go big, go bold, or go home. Exactly. Yep. There you go.
Quack,
Anaheim
quack.
plus 130. It's definitely a scheduling advantage for the Ducks, but they've had advantages with the schedules and the situations before and still shit the bed. So we'll see if they can fix that tonight. Our Jimmy is caught up. All caught up now. San Jose Seattle. I mentioned liking the team total over. I lean full game over as well. Alex, what do you think here? San Jose Seattle.
Yeah, this is one I would probably look at that first period over and probably look to get a better price in game as well. I'm seeing $1.30, $1.28. That's actually not bad. I probably will lay that 130 with this. This is Kokkonen starting for the Sharks, and I still think he has a chance to be a good goalie in this league. I think he just needs reps. This is a bad Sharks team. He's going to have more than likely a losing record at the end of the year, but I think he just needs more and more reps in net, and he'll find his footing in due time. Martin Jones, as incredible as he's been, you just wonder when is the shoe going to drop on the other foot. It could be tonight, even though he's played decent against his old team in 4 starts, 1-1-1 in 4 appearances, I should say. So I think this could be one of those higher scoring affairs. I think early we might see it maybe drop off a little bit, but this is a cheap enough price. I'll take a shot with the first period over.
All right, there we go. First period over. Jimmy, Sharks Kraken.
I'm going to jump on that, and I'm with you too. I'm going to take the team total over for the Sharks as well.
All right, there we go. Good stuff. Like I say, for the props regarding San Jose in particular, Eberle's really got it rolling at the moment for the Kraken. But for San Jose, LeBanc, Hurdle, Meyer, watch out for this Noah Gregor, who scored the other night for the San Jose Sharks. Moved up the lineup, starting to shoot the puck more, get more chances. Noah Gregor might be a sneaky option for San Jose tonight from a goal score prop standpoint. All right, Vancouver, Colorado. We've got the Avalanche minus 200. Home favorites here, 6.5 the total in this game. I'm just keeping this simple, over 6.5, because Colorado's probably going to get 5 or 6 on their own. I mean, that's how bad we've seen this Canuck team struggle to keep the puck out of their own net. We were wondering, Thatcher Demko, who had a terrific game when they beat LA last Friday night, and is Thatcher Demko going to find his game? A guy that, believe it or not, and Jimmy, I don't know if you've been on the show and I've said this previously, Thatcher Demko is the 3rd worst goals saved above average in the NHL. 3rd worst in the entire league. There's how many goalies have started? 74 have started a game this year. He is 3rd worst. Only Campbell and Merzlikins have a worse goal saved above average than him.
This is Carter Hart part 2 to me. I feel like they rushed him. They rushed Demko. That's what I think. And he's going to have to go through these 1 or 2 tough years like Hart did and find himself. And he's got the skill. I know that. But it's just not a good situation right now for him. And they need to figure out something to keep him on track mentally as he goes through this, because this could scar him for good.
Yeah, he just needs better blue line in front of him, too. That's a big issue. I mean, I've said this repeatedly about Vancouver. I think he's playing great. I think he's playing his ass off. He's doing everything. Luke Schenn, when Luke Schenn is one of your best defensemen on that blue line for Vancouver this year, you got some problems.
Mm-hmm.
You got some problems. Now, that's credit to Luke Schenn. Luke Schenn's had, I think, one of his better years in a long time. But when he's outperforming, Quinn Hughes and Bear and Ekman Larsson's been a train wreck this year. I can't even express how poor it's been for him. Lossum Tossum has been just brutal for the Vancouver Canucks this year. That's a problem. That blue line's weak. It's just and they can't overcome it. And now you got to face this Colorado team. That's going to be very difficult. But Colorado's got some injuries on the blue line too, including Bo Byram. Francouz is going to be in net for them. This will be his first start since he was just absolutely stand on his head caliber against Carolina in his last start. 2 goals allowed on 48 shots. So he was absolutely terrific in that game. So I was debating Colorado team total over or Vancouver or full game over, I should say. I went with full game over 6.5 because I just think it'll get there. I think you'll get 4 minimum out of Colorado, but more than likely 5 or 6. Now, they've been trending under. I get it, 5 straight, but not this Vancouver team. I think you're going to end up seeing goals aplenty here in this one, over 6.5 for me with Canucks and Avs. Alex, what do you think here, Vancouver, Colorado?
Well, I've been riding the first period over with the Canucks pretty much all year, but I'm going to look at a different route. I'm going to go both teams to score in the first period plus 150. With Spencer Martin getting the start in that, like I said, he's even though 4-1-1 record wise, but his numbers, goals against numbers, are a bit high. Francouz, like I said, getting the start. We've seen him kind of be up and down this year, so I can see where there's some goals early for both teams. So playing a little safer than going with the over 2. It's going to go with both teams to score plus 150.
There you go. I like that there. Both teams to score plus 150 first period. One of our looks that we are trying to incorporate a lot more in our NHL betting portfolio, if you will, the last last season or so. What do you think here, Jimmy? Vancouver, Colorado?
Yeah, I like that good little loophole you guys are working there now. I'm going to jump on that as well, and I'm going to jump on the over bandwagon with you, Ian, for the total game.
Excellent there. Do we have a Spencer Martin confirmation? Someone in the chat seems to think it could be
I saw
Spencer
it on
Martin.
goalie post. It says he was the first goalie off the ice.
Okay.
All right. Could be Spencer Martin tonight. So give Demko a rest. Spencer Martin, his numbers aren't a lot better. He's actually 4-1, believe it or not. 4-1-1 as a starter. They've actually won with him. 3.49 goals against, 898 save percentage, though, is still not great by any stretch of the imagination. You got to play this Colorado team, obviously, that continues to be very dangerous and potent offensively. So I like over 6.5 in this one. All right, and by the way, Colorado, only minus 200. I'm seeing Carolina out there at a minus 380, and believe it or not, Colorado minus 200. It doesn't seem like it seems a little cheap. Now, I would still not lay minus 200, but obviously, I'm just saying when you compare Carolina's laying minus 380 against Arizona, and I know Arizona's bad, but Vancouver's pretty damn bad right now, and Colorado's only laying minus 200 against them. So interesting the difference we're seeing with those prices. All right, last game through this marathon 15-game slate, Ottawa, Vegas. We've got the Golden Knights here minus 240, home favorites here at T-Mobile Arena. The total in this game right now sitting at 6.5 across the board. This is a game I don't have really a strong feel for overall. Ottawa is one of those teams I don't want to bet their games under a lot. But Vegas here, 6.5 coming back home. Certainly after a road trip that they had of late, ending up with a 5-4 back and forth wild game with Vancouver to end that road trip. We'll see. They've actually been trending over, believe it or not, 7-2 in their last 9 games. Ottawa and Vegas played just a few weeks ago, earlier this month in Ottawa, and that was a 5-4 game in favor of the Golden Knights. So maybe I should be leaning over the total, but certainly Ottawa tried to call, they kind of had the team meeting type of deal after the San Jose game, saying we got to be a little bit more responsible, defense, I mean, all this stuff that teams that are scuffling like Ottawa is right now what they do. You eventually try to get the team together, talk it out, hash it out, see if it's going to result in better performance and better results on the ice. We're going to have to see it before I believe it, because when your only victories are Philadelphia and a Buffalo team that was in a tailspin at the time you beat them, that's the only 2 victories for Ottawa in the last 10 games. I'm going to have to see it before I believe it. So this is a game where I would lean slightly over 6.5. But Ottawa is talking about trying to tighten it up. We'll see if they can tonight, if they're even capable of doing that. Because, like I say, this blue line without Thomas Chabot, since he's gone down due to injury, it's been hurting quite a bit for this Senators team. Logan Thompson confirmed in net for the Golden Knights. Not sure yet who will be in net, either Talbot or Forsberg, obviously, for Ottawa. Alex, what do you think here? Senators, Golden Knights.
Yeah, I already got a bunch of games, so this is a pass for me, but I would lean to that over 6.5. I feel like this could be one of those track meets like we saw when Vegas played up in Ottawa. This could definitely be a back and forth battle, even with Thompson confirmed in net. But like I said, Ottawa, I mean, there's no way you can really look at them, even at a plus 200 price. The form that they've been in right now has just been a bit sloppy, and just, the offense hasn't really been carrying everything enough to where they can just boat race everybody right now. So it's going to be a pass for me.
The Ottawa first period might be something I just dabble in, because I think the first 20 minutes you're going to see Ottawa come out strong. It is the first 20 minutes after the road trip. You could see that's when Vegas is at their most vulnerable. So I think if you're going to trust Ottawa to have this step-up effort after, it was pretty embarrassing, the San Jose game, quite honestly, then maybe early in the game is when you take Ottawa first period. Do we trust them to hang on for 60 minutes in that tough building? I'm not sure, but maybe you get Ottawa with a little edge in the first 20 minutes, a little sluggish out of Vegas the first 20 minutes following the road trip they just completed. What do you think here, Jimmy? Senators, Golden Knights?
What I think is I love the over in this one, guys, and I like an over, even though it's not the best value. I like the over in the first period as well. And I'm just going to tell you guys, driving down today, I spoke to a couple people. This is a really big game for DJ Smith. There's starting to be a really strong feeling around the league right now that he might not make it through the weekend if this comes up.
And he just got a vote of confidence from Pierre Dorion, a week. Well, 2 votes of confidence.
What happens when you get a vote of confidence from your GM?
Yeah,
99% of the time, you're gone.
Right.
Yeah,
that's like the kiss of death.
Yeah,
and I don't know. I don't think it's right. I think Pierre Dorion should be the one facing the music. I mean, how's all the stuff he did over the summer looking right now? DJ Smith didn't put this roster together. He did. So he should be the one that owns up to it. So we'll see.
It's funny, though. I mean, he thought this was a good roster this year. We all did. I mean, we were on this show, on the previous show. We all thought, damn, this team looks like they're going to be a whole lot better this year. And it's just sometimes the pieces aren't fitting and the chemistry's not there. And that's what it looks like right now. Definitely chemistry issues. I mean, I'm seeing lack of chemistry across the lineup right now with this team.
And the defense is just a mess.
Yeah.
That's why I laugh at the two guys just quickly. If anyone tries to tell you that Carlson's going back to Ottawa, just laugh at them.
Yeah.
Why would Ottawa add him to that defense in the condition they're in? They're like one of the worst defenses in the league right now. And they're giving up goals left and right. Carlson is a turnover machine.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, for that money, he's not worth the risk. So that's not happening.
Yeah, they're putting too much on the plate of Jake Sanderson. He's going to be good in time, but it's insane that they're already asking him to play, 20 minutes a night, 23 minutes a night, be dominant, be terrific in his own end. I mean, he's trying to step up with Thomas Chabot out with that concussion. I mean, he had a season high 24 minutes and 55 seconds the other night. But again, he's not used to that. You got to be patient. Still only 20 years old, this kid.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, right now, he's my Calder pick.
Yeah.
He's my Calder pick right now.
Yep. For rookie. Wow. Yeah, he has, I think he's done really well. But man, at some point you worry that they're asking a lot to play those minutes every night against the best players usually on the other team. Will this be able to sustain itself? Brandstrom's still very young. Zub, of course, is kind of a middling defenseman. Then you got Holden and you got Lassie Thompson scheduled to be on the third pair tonight for the Ottawa Senators. So yeah, you're talking about a blue line that hasn't been addressed enough. That is the one thing we said coming into the year. Have they addressed the blue line enough? They have not. Nope. And now it's coming back. The chickens are coming home to roost, as we say, with Ottawa defensively now. Didn't address it enough. Not enough depth back there. And they're kind of paying the price for it now, especially with Chabot out. Feel it even more. So Jimmy liking goals there with Ottawa and Vegas. I think goal scorer prop-wise there in that game, it seems like Riley Smith just is the go-to right now for Vegas. He's been absolutely phenomenal here of late, finding the back of the net for them. Keep him in mind for a goal prop tonight. Pinto looks like he's cooled off a little bit, but certainly it was going to happen at some point. Broussard on the second line center spot might be a value look here. Stützle is actually someone that's actually kind of trying to get things going for Ottawa, and he's been one of their better offensive players lately. Goals in 3 of the last 5 games for Timmy Stützle for Ottawa. All right, there we go. That is the card for this Wednesday. Huge slate, 15 games, our last show before Thanksgiving. So this is our chance to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving, safe travels. If you're going to be on the move here in the next 24 hours, we will be off, of course, tomorrow. No NHL action, and we'll be back on Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern with our Black Friday edition of the the Ice Guys show with tons of games on Friday. Now we will be posting our picks for the early games, the 1 p.m. Eastern Boston game and the quartet of 2 p.m. Eastern games on our Patreon page, patreon.com/iceguys. Before the games start, you'll be able to see what we like there. It's just $10 a month. You'll see that. You'll see our daily betting card for the show, bonus content, totals charts, goalie charts, power ratings, and more. Lots more bonus content coming up in the New Year as well. Patreon.com/Ice Guys for that. So make sure you check that out. And check out Jimmy's work too. Boston Hockey Now, the nationalhockeynow.com, Boston Hockey Now, all the great sites. George Richards with Florida, Adrian Dater with Colorado, Sheng Peng with San Jose. Go on down the list. Great team websites, great info too. Like they go in depth, good recap, coaches' quotes, player quotes, recap of each game. I mean, great stuff. It actually helps your handicapping and your betting, believe it or not, reading the stuff there. So nationalhockeynow.com for all of that. All right, Jimmy, it's always good to see you. Let's start best bets with you, my friend. What do you like for best bet?
I'm going to go back to that Panthers first period against the Bruins. So I'm liking that. Like I said, I could totally see Bruins coming back and winning the game. I just think that, Panthers are going to come out flying there. And I think there's something to what you said, Ian, about a letdown. I know for a fact those boys partied a little hard after that game that night. So I don't know, how they recover. They're young. They'll be fine. But I know they definitely celebrated Patrice's 1,000.
As they should. And Jimmy says maybe a little 20-minute hangover in the opening period tonight down in Sunrise against Florida tonight. So Florida first period against Boston for Jimmy Murphy with his best bet. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Yeah, I got a first period look as well. We're going to Dallas Stars, first period puck line, laying the half a goal at plus $1.10. Like I said, shop around. You can still find anywhere at a plus price. Just a huge advantage for Dallas here against the Hawks. I think this is going to be a spot where Dallas can kind of name their score, and they should be able to light the lamp early and often. So let's go Stars, first period puck line, plus $1.10. That's my best bet.
All right, there you go. Dallas Stars -0.5 at a plus price in the first period against Chicago. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. And my best bet here for this Wednesday card, a great card, lots to choose from. No question about that. I'm going to take a shot with those Jets at plus 140 against Minnesota. I just like their form right now. Minnesota escaping with victories in recent games. Goalie edge with Hellebuck over Gustafsson. Minnesota, I understand, being favored, not -160 right now with the form of both teams at the moment. So I think Winnipeg is the value shot there at plus 140 against Minnesota for my best bet for this Wednesday card. That'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone in the chat for joining us. Hit the like button on the way out. We appreciate it very much. Great show, and great to have Jimmy, as always, once a week. We'll get him back on next week as well, probably back in the Friday date. But again, always pending things. We can always move it around if need be. Great stuff. Happy Thanksgiving, Jimmy. Happy Thanksgiving, Alex. You're the Thanksgiving guys. It ain't me. I'm in Canada. So you guys enjoy your turkey and your feast. Everyone in the chat as well. Stay safe. Hit the like button on the way out. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. If you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and more. Download the Ice Guys podcast when you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Wednesday night. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone in the U.S., and we will be back with you on Friday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by National Hockey Now.